Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hello. You okay?
Yep. I am. I don't see any way to have it actually like show the link to the Hangout on the page. So
What
I'm
you
just
copied that was good.
yeah, I'm just gonna put it on the. I'm just gonna like put it as a comment on the page or something.
Yeah, I think that's easier.
Because I guess because I'm the organizer, I get this like play button. But yeah, I tried from like another Google account and sure enough, it's only like I guess I have to be like invited or be an organizer to get like this. It's like a little video camera start button. To get me into the Hangout, but it looks like no one else can see that.
Yeah, I
Let's see.
cannot see the two.
If I share link for Hangout, okay. So cool. I put a comment on it that has the link to the Hangout, and that should
Okay.
do the trick. Yeah, weird. I swear there used to be like I've done like public hangouts before Safecast, and I swear it used to have like a really clear button to push, but it just totally doesn't anymore.
It's messing up, yeah. It's different.
Yeah.
So also many other different things also.
Change it around a bit. Boy, it's dark where you are, huh?
No, I
No?
think this it's not dark, but I think some setting has changed.
Oh, you got a camera
Yeah,
settings.
hold on a second. It's
I was about to
no.
say, not in Japan right now.
No. I think it's the eyeglass. Yeah, here you go. I can set up levels and stuff. And so,
Okay, cool.
oh, here you go.
Hey, there you are. There's your
That's
smiling
better.
face.
Get this.
It's getting cold around here. How's that in Nada?
Good. That's better.
Cool, cool.
So it's cold at your place too?
Yeah. No snow yet, but yeah, it's chilly.
Still, you have the kimono hanging out. I like that in the background.
Yeah, I like it too. A
Yeah,
little flavor. This one's kind of just a basic green one, but she's got some that are really amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, very intricate.
Is it yours or is it from other people?
This is my wife's. Yeah, yeah, she's got a collection.
No, I understood that, but I mean, this kimono is a female or male kimono?
Oh yeah, this is my wife's. I only have one, and it doesn't come out that often. So
I see. That's what I mean.
yeah.
You don't have to normally hanging out there, no?
No, I presume she's either was working on this or will be working on this. Yes, soon. You're supposed to like let them hang out for a little while before and after you use them.
Okay, they have to settle down or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's the fabric evening out or something.
Mm-hmm. So who's going to join today? Colin or
who did we have? Yeah, we had Colin on the list.
Will was. I saw that. He wanted to come.
Yeah.
He wanted to join, I think.
Where was it? I'm gonna get my notes document out too. I forgot about that. Yeah, it looks like Evadne is a maybe, so we'll see.
Okay. There used to be also could have notes, no, somewhere.
I have a notes doc, so
cannot. It's only a chat. No.
it's in the details. There's a link to the notes document, like in the details of the Google Hangout. But I can just I'll just throw it in the chat here. Make it easy for you, since I have it up at the moment too.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
I don't.
But it's nice if it would be in the window directly. Type in it.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I'm getting echo also. That come from? I'm in here twice. Did I get in here twice?
Oh, here you go. I see here the toolbox. You can do other things in there. There's chat and other things.
Now I'm back. Yeah, there's like the Google Docs toolbox thing or something like that you can click on. And I have the waffle board up as well.
In the Google Hangout, you can do that?
No. Just I keep it in another tab. That would be kind of cool.
I mean, yeah.
I'm kind of surprised there isn't some sort of just generic shared browsing, like.
Yeah. Not only shared browsing, but also shared docs and stuff like that in there. Just a small window.
Yeah, it seems like it should be doable, but I'm just getting a white screen on this plugin that you tried here. I mean, I guess I could always do a screen share. Just doing some ticket updates here. Did I put a comment on the SSL? Okay, yeah. I'll put SSL back to ready.
Will didn't call in yet?
No, not yet.
He
didn't say yes, or like he didn't do any sort of RSVP, so he might have just missed it.
No, he mentioned yesterday something like that.
Oh, yeah. Come on here. No. Peter was. What's up?
Yesterday, Will said he also would like to talk about the air in there, getting the air working in the API.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely be the next thing to start focusing on. Here we are in 2016, so we should probably finish that up. I know Peter really wanted to get a change in to kind of unblock some of those air drives.
Yes, that's a very important one.
I bumped that. I have like a 216 ticket number 216. I bumped to the top of the ready list if anyone wants to pick that up. I should also put in a cover. Sorry?
But those should be the lock drives, basically. That's what Peter wants. Those drives are the famous lock drives where I made the fixed button for.
I think they're different. So yeah, there's like two sets. So there's those ones. There's the ones that are like locked because of the MD5 collision, which is what you're trying to get pushed out. The other one is there's a bunch of stuff that's like flight data.
Oh yes. They need to be flagged. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is a different issue.
It's all marked as like do not approve or something like that, because basically right now there's no way to differentiate between flight data and surface data. So he wants to add, I think it was basically just like a drop down of like drive types.
Yeah.
So that way, when entering data and then also when pulling data back out. That's an interesting point though, come to think of it, like it seems like a simple enough request, but I don't know, because what it probably comes down to is when Nick gets measurements for the maps, he wants to be able to ignore the flight measurements. But the measurements table, I think at the moment, still doesn't link back to the drive. Like it should, but I think it's broken. I remember Nick mentioning something like that.
You're right in that, I think.
Yeah. By the time it gets into the measurements table, I think we lose the association back to the drive. So I think that's going to have to get fixed before we can filter based on drive type.
Yeah, Nick is there.
Hey, speaking of Nick.
Hi, Nick. Can you hear us, Nick? Good try.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It feels like every feature we try to push on, basically we run into some sort of like thing that's broken that means that we can't, like it would be really easy except for this broken thing. Because that's the way it feels with like what you're working on too. Like the fixed drive thing, pretty straightforward, but like we can't test it because the staging imports are not working.
That's true. But we did test the staging for that, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
But we can't really be sure, right? Because the staging page is broken, right? We don't have a map, so it's probably not your fix. But at the same time, it's like kind of nice to see that work before we go ahead and merge.
Yeah, that's what I would like to do too first.
Yeah. So we should get that fixed. I put in a ticket assigned to you just because you've been like looking at it the most so far in terms of like getting the map fixed. I might take it over. I mean, it sounds like we're probably going to need a little bit of like Rails custom configuration, so that might be a better thing for me to pick up at this point.
Yeah, I think you'll be faster in that, but if you can allocate time for that, it will be good. But
yeah, I might be able to put a little time towards it today.
Okay.
So both the kids are in school full time today, so I have like I have a nice full work day. I got like a tease last week. It was they were back in school on Friday, but only until like 1 o'clock.
So they tricked you.
Yeah. So I got some work done, but yeah, it was and yeah, it was good. Kaori had the kids out of the house for the second half of the day, but it wasn't. Today should be a nice full day. So.
Okay, but they come back at 5 or 4?
School's over like at 4, and then there's like they can stay late for like an extra fee, so they're staying late today. So both my wife and I can actually focus on things. That'll be good.
They're not going to cram school yet.
No, not quite yet.
So
they've got their activities and stuff though, you know.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, got to keep them busy. Otherwise, they just end up, playing video games or watching TV all day. It's like.
Yeah, that's not so good. No.
Yeah, you don't feel like a great parent when your kid is just like zombified from a day of playing Minecraft all day.
True. Hey, it looks like Will is not showing up, no?
Yep. Oh, hey, but we got Colin. That's cool.
Hey, hello.
Put it, Colin.
Hi,
Yeah.
Colin.
I'll join you.
Oh, yeah, we can all go like that.
Yeah.
Except Colin, no? Colin is not the one up there.
Now he turned his video off. That's a shame. So yeah, I think I think we can probably start talking about the things. It sounds like maybe you heard a little bit of it that to cover for Colin who just joined. The things that are kind of top of my mind are one is getting the air data moving. I think Rob, you mentioned that you heard from Will that he was hoping to join. I think even if Will gets his piece done, like we still have work on our end that needs to happen for the API. Got to get the fix merged to actually even be able to import the data. Need a page so that we can generate the configuration files for provisioning the devices, and then start to be able to like at least show some basic, like right now I think the show page is just like a stub that says, hey, this is a show page for the air import. So we need some sort of page that shows us at least a little something of success that the import actually happens. So and then the other thing that I feel like is a little bit of a precursor to all that is like just handling the database schema. Evadnio is doing some work on that. My local copy actually got jacked up again. Like I can't. So like I need to figure out what's up with PostGIS and all that stuff again to try to get my local copy working. So I kind of agree with Evadnio that the PostGIS adapter tries to be like a little too clever, and it ends up being very easy to run into like trouble because the PostGIS adapter is trying to do something that doesn't actually work. So I'll dig in. I'll try to figure out what my local copy is doing again.
Okay.
And that should get me to a point where I can look at the error data. Gotta get that moving. I know Evadne had a couple other points that she was interested in tweaking, but I think it might be time to just sort of start rolling, and even if it's not ideal, we can fix it later.
Yep.
And then the other thing was this concept of like a drive type, so that we can handle error and surface data. So apparently there's like a couple of drives that are uploaded, but the title is like "do not approve" or something like that. Oh, hey, well. And actually, Nick, I think you joined just after we were talking about this, but you might be able to confirm I think the need here is that we have like this like flight data that we would like to be able to import, but we don't want that ending up in the tiles. So the thought is we should be able to flag the drive such that we can then filter measurements out and not have like a flight from San Fran to Narita ending up in. Okay, you have a proposal on a Google Drive. Okay, interesting. Using radiation type. Can you send a link when you manage to dig that up? Or the title or something. Thanks, cool. And then also, I seem to remember you mentioning something that like the measurements aren't actually associated back to their drive, like because of some bug. Do you remember that, Nick? Like, is that broken as far as you know? I mean, I guess I can dig in anyway, but yeah, that all we have is the MD5 sum, which actually Rob's change is about to sort of like potentially stop over for places where we have MD5 collisions. So we don't have any like ID link from the measurement back to the drive. So one of the things that comes to mind is like if we just annotate the drive, we won't be able to tweak the measurement. So I guess, is that also in your proposal maybe? Okay. All right. So that's something. And as before people joined, I was saying to Rob, it sort of feels like we have all these like, oh, this will be a really easy little change, but there's some sort of nasty like bug that needs to get fixed before we can even do it. So this feels like another one of those cases. Like adding a field here or there is easy, but just adding the field is not going to cut it because we won't have a way to filter measurements if we can't associate them back to the original drive that they came from, and the metadata and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the state of that. Will, since you joined, I guess let's circle back around to error importing. API definitely still has a lot of work that needs to get done, but you had a couple of tickets on your end as well. Any news?
Oh, what tickets did I have?
You had.
Uh-oh.
I'll pull up the waffle board here. It was mostly around generating the new format based on a configuration file.
Yeah, no, I haven't done the configuration file yet.
Okay.
I put together the new prototype, and I've hooked up a methane sensor.
Oh, cool.
And so one of the things I was thinking of is how do we add the methane sensor to the JSON file? And so the methane sensor sits on the UEXT header, and I was thinking of adding just like a UEXT key to the thing, and then an array of any sensors that is on the UEXT header.
Okay.
I have an example I could put on like the. We just cut and paste it. You guys can see this one just has the methane sensor in it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I guess I would have. Is the format comparable to like the carbon monoxide sensors or anything like that, or is it a pretty different measurement?
It's a different sensor.
Okay.
I just put it on the API group. Can you guys see that?
Yeah. Take a look.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to go into the UEXT group, but they are quite different than the AlphaSense sensors, and so I thought. So I think anything in the UEXT header is just sort of an optional sensor that people can put on, and.
Gotcha.
Well, cool. I don't think that it matters great that it's on whatever header. I mean, actually it's a sensor that we're reading data from. So the most important part of it is what type of sensor it is, and the rest is basically just additional metadata, how it is connected to the platform. But if you disconnect it from there and put it on another place, it's still the same sensor, so it's okay.
Yeah, and so long as we have those IDs to travel with it, we should be in good shape.
So do you prefer this, or do you prefer I just create a... Sorry?
Yeah, hold on. Is that me buzzing? Hello?
Yep.
Hello? Oh, okay, I'm not getting it now. I wonder if it's coming... I think it might be Colin. Let me try muting Colin and see if that helps. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep, that's better. Colin, I had to mute you because of some feedback going on. So, Will, you were saying?
Oh, I was saying, you think... I mean, we could just add it as a normal key, you know, like a... or even in the gas sensor group, though it is different. It does have different sort of items in it than the typical gas sensor does.
Yeah, I see. It's missing like the WRK and the aux. Like it still has the PPB, but it's the PPB and the PPP FLT.
Yeah, I could also add a raw value to that if we wanted. I mean, there is a raw analog value, if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think this is probably fine, and it maps up with what we have so far, which is you know, like the gas sensors are mapped by header and position, so this will be mapped according to its location as well, which is the UX.
Hi Ed. Ed Chow just came in.
I guess one thing that comes to mind is, do we definitely want this as, like, I'm not familiar with like a UX. Oh hey Ed. I'm not familiar with the sort of like the hardware that you're working with. The other gas sensors, they, instead of being an array, it's like an object of position 0, position 1, something like that. Does it make sense to organize this one in a similar way? Or like, is it pretty freely reorderable? Is that why it's an array? Or does it have like discrete positions that we should iterate over?
Yeah, I don't know. I just made it an array because, I mean, it could be done the other way as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just for consistency, like I'm just wondering why do one way and one the other way, you know?
So aren't the gas sensors kind of an array? It's gas and then...
Well, here, I can show you what I have. Let me send a link to what I have in the repo.
But that's from the SD card, no? So that's what the SD
I
card
assume what you put in the channel is going to go on the SD card as well. Will, is that accurate?
What is this?
So the thing I just linked you to is the config that we had in. It was the. Oh, sorry, this is the config. I need the test data. I need the log.
Let me see if I can...
What I meant to post is that log file. It's.
Where did you send this?
In the API chat, I think.
Ah, got it.
Sorry, I'm juggling a couple of windows here. So.
This here, the log.
Oh wait, no. Okay, never mind. It is an array. Oh, I see. It's got. I confused the configuration with the log file. I see. It's just an array, but it also contains like a header and pos index, and it looks like we're not going to have that for the UX connected stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing, I guess.
Okay, that's probably fine. Yeah, sorry, I got confused. I loaded up the config file, and I thought I was looking at the example log file. So let me just delete the config file link to avoid confusion. Any further confusion?
Right. Yeah, but you could have multiple sensors on the UEXT header at one time if you wanted. Right? You could have one using SPI and another using I2C.
Now that I'm looking at the right file, I mean, it looks pretty consistent. What you pasted looks pretty consistent with what is in the rest of the log as well. So,
okay,
it's fine. Yeah, I mean, to Colin's point, it also doesn't matter that much at the end of the day, but like to have the positions and like where it's connected and stuff like that, but I feel like it also certainly doesn't hurt.
Right.
So and it fits with like it seems to fit with the rest of the sensor data.
Right. So is Kalen, are you thinking of putting that UEXT SPI in the as an item in the object, like the type or something?
Well, I think that I mean basically because that connector is just a physical connector. I mean you can route many things through it. You either have to specify which protocol are you using, or I don't know, just ignore it altogether. Because in the end of the day, we're really as long as that sensor is in the same box as the whole box and it's moving together, there's no need to track exactly what it is. So if I unplug it from UXT 0 and plug it to UXT 1, it shouldn't matter much, basically.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I guess that's the other option is we could potentially just group it in with the rest of the gas measurements. The only catch is that it wouldn't have a header and a position at that point, right? It would have like its own sort of schema.
But you would do that in the config file instead of which sensors are going to which connector?
Yeah, that would be in the config, I think, like sort of how that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately we don't. The main thing is like which sensor corresponds to which ID. You know how
Right.
the actual data gets in there. The other thing, as I'm looking at this log, do we have versioning in the output yet? I know we talked about that.
This is versioning of the firmware, or
Of the individual like log lines, so that way if we decide to make schema changes down the road and stuff like that, we can more easily know what we're dealing with.
so just some sort of version number in the in the JSON line.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to call that? Just version VER? Or?
Just VER is fine, yeah. I mean, out of the gate, we're probably not even going to use it, but it'll come in handy later on once we start making, like after we've really deployed this thing and then we start making schema changes, not having that number is going to really hurt. Because what we'd have to do then is anytime we're looking at a log, we'd have to heuristically try to determine what the schema is going to be ahead of time.
Right.
I mean, I guess if we wanted to get really fancy, we could like have a URL to a JSON schema or something like that, but I don't think that's worth it at this point. So I think just a number. So that way, when we're writing code against it, we can basically say like, if var equals 1, then use this parser. If var equals 2, then use this parser. That kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, what you put in the channel seems reasonable to me. Especially since it's not, like if we tried to put it in that gas list, it's not going to have a header or pause, which makes me think it should just be not in the gas list since it's got sort of a different format than the rest of the items in that list.
Yeah, unless we wanted to do something like, have the header be EUXT or something and then specify the position based on SPI or,
But even that feels a little weird.
Yeah.
I think what you have there should work. Because if anything, I feel like what we're qualifying is not the fact that it's a gas sensor, but it's coming from the 6-sensor gas array. Like in a way, it's kind of like a hardware classification the same way that UX does. Here's all the measurements that are coming from that sensor cluster. Here's the ones that are connected to UX. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'm thinking about adding now is just maybe the raw voltage. So in case somebody wants to, if they decide the calibration's wrong or something, maybe we should have that.
Sounds good. Yeah, that could be handy. Yeah, generally the more data we can put, especially because we're not dealing with like 3G or anything like with these devices yet anyway. We can kind of fill up those lines with as much extra data as we think we might need down the road and filter it out later. So if you start connecting these over 3G, I think it'll be a different story. But
maybe that will be fine, because I found a bug in the 3G setup. We can send 1024 bits.
okay,
Maybe
so we get a full kilobyte.
Yeah, kilobyte.
Or kilobit, I guess. Cool. Yeah, that would be nice too. Or if we could even just employ some kind of compression or something so that we don't have to worry about mucking around with formats just to do lower bandwidth communications. Cool. Anything that anyone else wanted to cover?
Maybe Ed wants to talk about the upload from the air to his application to Whiskers. You want to talk about it?
Yes, really quick. I have a code starting in literally one minute. Yeah, one of the ideas here was to connect NextB to the Safecast Air so that I can get a stream from the device, so that you can graph everything on your phone or on your tablet, and then forward it on to the API if necessary. So not as a log file, but just line by line.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's so that's what we're working on with Rob. So first step is to make sure that we get the data over the BLE, the Bluetooth Low Energy, and then I need to understand exactly what I should graph and what I should select. The idea here is to have something very quick that will let us select one particular sensor and just stream it to the API to get real-time measurements.
Right. Right. And you're having some sort of issue, I guess, with sending the data to via the XP. Is that right?
Yes, at the moment. Yeah. So I'm really sorry. I really need to say no. I'll follow from the channel anyway in the background. But nice to go out. Bye.
Right. I did test out the XP with it. Are you using the serial D in D out on that, or are you using the SPI connection? Serial. Okay. Because I did cut the one of the SPI's connections on purpose because it was connecting that D33 pin that causes the.
Remember.
Yeah, but if you're using that, I don't know why that's not working then. So maybe I'll try it here.
Yeah, I will check later on it. So.
Yeah, and we're using the high. I don't know how much power the thing is drawing, but we're using the Pololu regulator for 3.3 volts.
But that should be fine. They can handle, I think, 1 amp, 500 milliamp to 1 amp. They can handle. So that should be fine.
Okay. Yeah. Because I don't know. It depends on the XP. That's why I put the regulator on there. Was some of the XPs are higher current.
No, but that's not the issue, I think, because it connects and.
Just not sending data.
But that's later. It's not an issue, I think.
Okay.
Cool. That would be neat.
So, how do you want to handle if we send data? Do you have to set up for dev for it, or for testing that, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think I mean I don't think there's like an endpoint that we can readily publish to or anything like that. So the first thing we need is just a place to even put the data on the app. Yeah, it's not. I think if anything, as far as testing is concerned, what I would probably go for is try to get, because I think Ed's already set up for like local testing, or I know you are set up for local testing. I would probably do it that way, because since we don't even have the air schema merged to master yet, you know, any development almost has to happen off of that still yet unmerged air change. And then it would have to be an augmentation of that. So like I wouldn't want to push it to any server yet until we get the air schema updated and like deployed somewhere. Otherwise, that's going to get really messy. So yeah, so I would say before we actually put it anywhere, we should aim to get. It looks like it's issue 205 is the pull request. Basically aim to get that finished and deployed somewhere. I can try to spend some time on that next month. My time's really short, though. I tend to only spend like between 2 to 5 hours a month on this stuff. So it's not enough to really make good headway. But I would say let's get that out and deployed first, and then we can look at like putting it on staging so we could actually publish to staging. And in the meantime, whoever needs to work on it, let's just make sure they're set up for local development, because we don't want to make any schema changes that, you know, ultimately we have to like roll back and muck around with the data and things like that. That could just be a real train wreck if we got into that territory. But if everything's local, it's easy enough to just like drop the whole thing and start again.
Okay, good. I'm set up locally. That should be fine. But I think Ed is not set up for that. You have to.
Yeah.
Help that.
Yep. And I need to look at fixing mine as well and maybe making it a little bit easier. The PostGIS stuff is the thing that you end up tripping over it like every time. Like the extensions are not set up the right way, so it's annoying. If it wasn't for that, I feel like it would be a much simpler setup. So.
Okay. Can I just go back to what it was talking about? I mean, how do we handle the live updates? In a way, I mean, most of the data that we're dealing with now has the notion of a drive. So basically, I mean, maybe one way to handle that is when the app starts to upload, basically just create a new drive with the date and the device number, whatever, and just keep adding points to that drive. So every new point that comes on the database will be marked with that ID until, let's say, there's a big timeout. Let's say more than 1 hour and no data coming from this device. So in a way, close the drive, and next time it uploads, reopen the drive. I mean, that will probably mean that can be implemented in the app itself or in the API. I don't know which is easier or better. But
Well, I think if it's going to append to an existing drive, I think it's probably going to have to be both, right? And I don't think we have any sort of APIs that allow you to shove new points onto a drive.
We don't, and technically there is the only notion of a drive that exists on the device is the file name of the log file name. So in a way, the idea of a drive is created at the moment when you upload data to the database. So
Yep.
You can process.
We might be losing you there.
And basically ID to be. I mean, it's not, as far as I remember, the database that it's just another column for each point that shows which drive ID it came from.
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay.
Yeah. Well, except for the little bit of breakage that's on there as well. I think that the best thing that I would probably, like the simplest thing that comes to my mind in terms of just handling data via the BLE is to basically do the same thing we do with the Nano today, where the device connects and the device monitors in real time, and in the meantime, it's collecting what would normally go on an SD card, and then as one lump sum, it just says, okay, here's everything that you recorded that I have locally on the device, push upload, and then it'll push that all up to the API. We could try to get more real time, but it would be a different sort of model, like I said, like appending, for example, creating a drive and then appending points to that drive. It'd be a different sort of model than everything works on right now, so it requires some changes.
Well, but is the data from the real time data in the same database scheme that the drives are in?
Well, no, I mean, because well, depends on what you term as a drive, right? Like we take the individual lines from the log and then we push them back up. Or when you say the real-time data, you're saying like the individual points coming from PointCast or something, or?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm not as familiar with that. Maybe Rob can answer that question.
No, they don't go to a drive at all. I mean, it's just individual measurements.
And they don't go through any sort of approval process or anything like that, right?
No, it goes straight into them.
Yeah, so that's something that we could do, but do we want to do that, right? since we're still talking like devices again, it seems like we probably don't want to have direct push into the measurement table.
Basically, two ways to handle that. Either we merge everything back to the idea of a drive, or we have to have a completely separate setup for real-time data. And I mean, I would say there's no issue of having unchecked real-time data that is shown in one way, and that has nothing to do with the approved data. But I mean, at the moment, it's kind of both.
The only place we can put data is the approved data set, though. Like we don't have a way to differentiate. Like once it's a measurement, we don't have a way to differentiate between whether or not it's approved or not, really.
Okay. Now I understand. I thought.
Yeah. That's something we've like gone back around to a couple of times. Is like, should we have flags, like basically per measurement flags, so that we could potentially approve or deny individual measurements. But right now, just speaking,
Okay, understand. I thought we still have like different tables for approved and not approved and so on. But
only if it's corresponding to a drive, or I think the table name is like a bgeigy import, or bgeigy log, I think is the table name. So any measurements that are in that table get hard tied back to a drive, and then we can register whether or not it's approved based on the status of the drive. But once it gets copied from that table into the measurements table, it's like a done deal.
All right, I understand.
Yeah. So the way it's designed today, we couldn't, streaming real time into the measurements table would imply approval. You wouldn't be running through any of the usual approval gates.
Yeah. Well,
which I guess is kind of okay for Pointcast because we control those devices. Is the thought? I wasn't around for the setup of Pointcast, but I would assume that was why it was sort of deemed okay to just go straight.
No, it's not deemed okay. It was the only way to show the data on some reasonable. So it's not okay as well.
Yeah.
So that's
the question being, would we want to proliferate that even further?
We had to continue doing it the same way as the Pointcasts, but it would just have location, or we have to redo it in a way that actually involves some kind of approval.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not an easy task anyway.
Yeah. I think for now the main thing that comes to my mind is just kind of sticking to that model where the device collects a series of points and then it uploads it as a batch, because that way we get approval process around that batch. Okay. I'm sure there's lots of other ways to do it, but that's the way that's built into the app right now. So.
All right.
That would be the path of least resistance, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Cool. Maybe I'll mention that to Ed in the back channel just so he knows. But. All righty. Anyone else?
Nick has a link for the proposal?
He put it in the channel, the API channel. It's the one with HP Lovecraft in the background. I didn't actually open it, but I saw the HP Lovecraft. I was like, what? Yeah, sure enough.
I saw that. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'll put a link to that on that ticket as well. So when we pick up at number 216, the qualified drive type, we can hopefully use some of what Nick has.
Yeah, so basically that proposal looks implementable to me, but I don't know the Ruby code.
Yeah, one of the things that, I haven't taken a hard look at it yet. I mean, tweaking fields and stuff is pretty straightforward. The thing that tends to happen in almost any of these efforts is we find some sort of bug somewhere that was latent in the system that causes the implementation to get much more complicated or roundabout. So, like even like the fixed drive button that Rob and I have been working through, like the actual Ruby code is actually really straightforward and not that many lines at all. But in the process of pushing it out, we found out that maps on staging is just not working. So got to fix that before we can actually verify whether or not the fixed drive thing is working as expected. So almost every task has followed that pattern that I've seen so far. Like, oh, this is simple. Oh, it would be simple if this other thing wasn't broken.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything else we have?
No, I'm fine.
All right. Well, let's call it a day. I put Nick's document on the GitHub issue that I filed based on Peter's request. That's at the top of the Waffle backlog. So hopefully we'll pick that up soon. But we really need to clear out this whole set of like in progress error tickets first, I think, since Sean mentioned March. So it'd be nice to show some real progress there. I'm probably going to defer almost everything else until then. I'll try to get this fixed drive thing working since it's most of the way done. But beyond that, if anyone says Rails upgrade again, I'm going to tell them to take a hike until April.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. Talk to you again soon. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.